Have you ever wondered why some people grow taller and others don't reach their full height potential? While genetics play a big role, there are certain things that you can do to ensure that you reach your maximum genetic potential. For example, your hormones have a huge impact on how tall you end up, especially in your developing years. Today, I'm going to be talking about hormone optimization for height. I'm going to break down the science of exactly how your hormones affect growth, and I'll be sharing practical strategies through diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes to help maximize your genetic potential, keeping you as tall as you can possibly be. Let's get started. All right, let's start with the basics. Your height is primarily determined by the amount of growth in your growth plates of your bones. These plates are areas of cartilage that allow your bones to lengthen during your growth years, which typically last until your late teens or your early 20s. Growth plates are directly influenced by the following: human growth hormone, insulin growth factor 1, your testosterone levels, and your estrogen and your cortisol. Human growth hormone is the key hormone for driving bone growth produced in the pituitary gland. Insulin growth factor 1 works with HGH, and it's going to promote better bone and muscle development. The test and estrogen levels are going to be what fuels the growth spurts during puberty, but they can also signal the closure of your growth plates if their levels are too high, which will end your height growth. You should know that chronic stress levels like cortisol can completely suppress the growth hormone, ultimately slowing down your growth. Before we get into the techniques, let's talk about when they'll actually be most effective. Hormone optimization for height will be most effective in your childhood and adolescence. This is the prime period for growth because all of your growth plates are completely open, allowing your bones to lengthen as much as they can. In ages 12 to 18 or puberty, your body produces the most amount of HGH. This is what drives the growth spurts. So this is when optimizing your hormones can make the biggest difference. Around 18 to 21 is typically when most people's growth plates begin to close and their growth begins to slow down. But techniques can still improve overall health and bone density. So in other words, if your growth plates are closed, this won't increase your height, but it will help your overall bone health. So let's get into some actionable strategies about how you can actually apply this. Firstly, you want to prioritize good sleep. Your body releases the most HGH during sleep, so you should be aiming for about 8 to 10 hours of quality sleep every single night. And obviously stick to a regular sleep schedule and avoid screens before bed for the best results. Next, you want to follow a height-friendly diet. So what do I mean when I say that? I'm talking about protein-rich foods, eggs, chicken, fish, vegetables. All of those have amino acids that are going to support bone growth. Calcium and vitamin D. These nutrients found in dairy and leafy greens and sunlight are going to strengthen your bones and promote HGH production. Zinc and magnesium, these are essential for hormone balance. Eat nuts, seeds, and whole grains. And lastly, healthy fats, things like avocados, nuts, oil, they are all going to do wonders here. You also want to be engaging in growth stimulating exercises. High intensity interval training is a perfect example. Short bursts of intense exercise can skyrocket your HGH production. So sprints, weighted sprints, bodyweight circuits, they're all wonderful. When you're doing strength training, it's better to focus on compound movements like bench and squat and deadlift. But if you are in your early teens, avoid any heavy loads of this as you are more prone to injury. Make sure you are avoiding stimulants and processed foods. Too much caffeine and a high sugar diet can interfere with hormone production and ultimately slow your growth. This one might come as a surprise due to the caffeine, but it's important to remember, just like all things you consume, it is appropriate in the correct moderation. Doesn't mean you need to ban it, just means you need to not overload it. And also you need to manage your stress. Like I said earlier, you want to decrease that cortisol as it can completely interfere with the growing process. So what can you actually expect from doing all of this and in what timeframes? If you are under 18 and you have followed all of these practices, you can rest assured that you are a couple inches taller than if you hadn't. Obviously, this will vary for everyone. We all have different genetic limiting factors, which is a huge part of height. So understand that there's no real metric to say how much you can grow and how much you can't grow. But the way I see it, the time is going to pass anyway, and all of these methods will help your health. And if you have prioritized your health in the ways that I have just mentioned, you will be as tall as you naturally can. If you're in puberty and you're applying these practices, you are going to notice that your growth spurts are a lot more aggressive. They're going to be amplified, which means that you're going to have a noticeable increase in height. And if you are doing these practices post growth plate closure, so around 21 plus, you're not going to be taller. You are just going to have overall better health and healthier bones. So to keep it simple, here are the mistakes that you want to avoid. Do not neglect your sleep. Don't overtrain, because too much intense exercise without recovery can raise your cortisol. Do not ignore the nutrition, and don't expect to get too much taller once your growth plates are closed. The amount of height that you are going to gain through other practices, like I mentioned, like posture correction, are not actually physically getting taller. They are just correcting habits and muscular issues that were compressing you. So make sure you're applying all of these strategies consistently. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Much love, gang.